Malaysia is all set to roll out the B7 biodiesel program this month, first in Peninsular Malaysia, then in Sarawak, Sabah and Labuan next month. The move is part of the government's efforts to reduce carbon emissions and to support ailing palm oil prices. Here to tell us more is Dato Dr. Makhdzir Mardan, Chief Executive of the Malaysian Palm Oil Association. Now, we just had export numbers come out for palm oil on Monday. What are your thoughts, first and foremost, on that?
The prices?
The export numbers that we saw and the consequential
well,
palm
this
oil prices.
easing up for sure. But one thing is that the debut into palm diesel as alternative energy is to me is more profound than more than meets the eye, in the sense that not only it stabilizes prices, but I think you have some sort of like a hedging in terms of strategy between food and fuel. But we expect to see more assertive policy towards this, because when the prices are down, people were clamoring for palm diesel. When the price will go up, they don't get, and it's just the Goldilocks, hot and warm, cold, hot and cold. It cannot be like that for business.
So by adding palm diesel into the mix as an energy source, then you up consumption, which then stabilizes prices.
Yes, in a way, because as you have seen that in the past 5 years, the excess stockpile has been between 1.5, 0.6, 1.7 million ton. But this year it's an unprecedented about 2.1 million ton as of this week. So we can expect that we have to mop up the excess stockpile so that...
No, to mop up the excess stockpile now, we're about to launch the B7 program, diesel fuel program, biodiesel program. So given that we have the excess stockpile, why don't we just go all the way to B10, which is already being talked about anyway?
That should be the thoughts, but to be able to go past beyond B10, it has to be some modification by the auto manufacturers for better consumption and all that. And I think for Indonesia, they can go up to 30 because they have discussion with the auto manufacturers to do some modification. I think we will come to that crossroad.
So proton cars, prototype cars are not quite built for that just yet.
I think we need to prepare more from our country. We should have a more assertive policy and strategy to this, because far-reaching implication that, for instance, next year we expect 19.8 million ton, and Indonesia has already breached the 30 million ton, and I think we should brace ourselves for this kind of new.
And if we do see the consumption of palm diesel mixed fuel ramp up next year, in light of reduction in diesel and petrol subsidy, what then does palm diesel have to play in terms of how
very
that
good
plays
question. Out? So in next year there are two big things going to happen. Number one, government is going to rationalize subsidy. So when you want to put in the push for the palm diesel, you have to address the petroleum subsidy, number one. Secondly, the enter of the ASEAN economic community. And I think this is a bigger economic footprint, more than just 28 million people. It's about 600 million people, economic integration. And we have to reconcile some of the regional policies between Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. But you must remember that Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand, we produces about 90.3% of the world palm oil. So it should be a force to be reckoned with when it comes to, if we keep our head together, come up with a policy, and looking for regional.
There is talk of weather conditions actually possibly affecting production next year. So, I mean, would we still be the strong players as we are now next year?
Well, put it this way. Earlier this year, they make a guess about the El Nino, El Nina, and that kind of thing. And I think when you talk about climate change, it's always, you know, that hujan di sana sini, tak hujan sana, hujan di sini.
Well, let's get back to that idea where, you know, players in the region should be working in tandem. We did see both Indonesia and Malaysia scrap export taxes, which then kind of heightens competition between the two as export markets. So how then are they to align?
That is actually one of the issues that is outstanding. First now, between on export duty, when we reduce, Indonesia reduce, and I thought the relationship is very immature. I think we should go for a long term, what needs to be done to address, okay, we reconcile, okay, now no export duty. Then we don't have to we can concentrate more on other things. And the subsidy rationalization must address economic at a regional sense that they should do rather than just for the country alone.
Yeah.
Because going for 2015 ASEAN Economic Community.
Yeah, and a very timely thought, seeing as the ASEAN Summit is happening. So thank you so much.
Yeah, most welcome.
That was Dato Dr. Makhdzir Mardan, Chief Executive of the Malaysian Palm Oil Association.